I'm Shatan Shatyagi, co-founder at EMO Energy. For the longest time, I've been obsessed with wanting to start a company. It all started back in college, where I used to take part in intercollegiate events. We raced cars, we raced bikes. The entire process of going end to end, of building something out, testing it, prototyping it, and just that entire feeling, that entire conviction of actually trying to make something come to life, that whole process started everything. But going back a little bit, a lot of the work I did obviously at Rivian, a lot of the work that went into developing systems at Ather, at Polar, and that entire understanding of how companies like that and at that scale were set up, how they grew quickly, the mistakes they made, that whole process has really been very critical to what's happened today and to what EMO is today also. The day Rahul and I actually decided to quit our jobs, the very next day, Rahul and I were sitting in my hall trying to decide what we should do. There was some understanding on how we wanted to build out what we wanted to build, but really the actual application, the product, the entire fit to market was obviously completely open-ended. We traveled all over the country, spoke to a lot of people, understood the real grievances of how charging, of how batteries, of how this whole understanding of this ecosystem was still very rudimentary, and which led to an entire host of problems, which then the user basically had to live with, and never really had an experience strong enough to really come back to this whole electric vehicle proposition again. At the end of it all, we understood that how we built out the battery would be key. And obviously both of us had spent a lot of time in this industry. So very quickly, within 2 months, spending days and nights, we built out what we believed was the most efficient and the most advanced battery pack for its size, for a two-wheeler and for a three-wheeler product. The minute Rahul and I had validated this idea and really tested out the product, we looked for a partner to scale. In the process, we found 100X, who really was the ideal accelerator for us to grow from product to something we could actually genuinely test in the market. After raising our pre-seed, we spent the next 6 months validating this amongst multiple clients, multiple fleets in different geographies and different conditions. We understood the abuse and the use cases from scratch of different geographies, of different riders, and how different riders really interacted with the system in their own unique ways. This conviction on ground and this data, which essentially allowed us to prove that fast charging with high cycle life on standard cells was really a giant reality, allowed us to then raise our seed round. Over the next year, EMO then worked with almost 1,000 riders to really understand the grievances on ground and how this scales to the next level. EMO uses standard lithium cells, develops an entire platform around it, combining our thermal management, our BMS, and software to then produce a battery pack capable of fast charge at standard market prices. This, combined with our charging ecosystem, which we're deploying across light mobility, we believe is going to be the future of energy. EMO started off as a products company, as a high-tech, purely technology, research-focused company, trying to improve the landscape of energy, the landscape of batteries. But what we've obviously realized along the way is that it's always a lot more beneficial if we can really establish the entire ecosystem. How do we take these products, really go on ground, work in a system as complex as India, to really implement the most refined and the most sophisticated, I'd say, energy ecosystem from scratch? Using our Series A, EMO is going to now scale from just 2,000 vehicles to 1 lakh two-wheelers all across India. As the world grapples with energy insecurity and fossil fuel reliance, EMO's energy ecosystem is going to be a key enabler for net zero.